So let's just kind of go through what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. Talk about 5 contexts for meeting people. 3 different aspects of communication. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Is that good? Yeah? Good. 2 keys to success and building trust. Lowering your risk profile. This isn't actually changing your finances at all. I'm not a finance guy. It's just how to create a perception. And finally, what you should be doing now to get ready, because it's, what is it, 7, 8 weeks away? So, all right, so a few words about me. Some of you know me up here already. Most of you, I guess, do not. So my name's Barbera, local guy from Montreal. Bilingual digital marketer, work with a lot of tech companies and startups. I began my career as a reporter at various broadcast outlets here in town. Worked in PR communications for a member of parliament. Did an MBA up the hill here at JMSB. Again, worked with a few tech companies, Sysmos, Lavasoft, Nexalogy. Been to dozens of these trade shows. PDAC here is like 50,000 people. It's in March in Toronto. You can't call up just for fun later, see if you can get a hotel room in Toronto in March. You can't. It's impossible. And imagine CES is like 3.5 times bigger. I'm also the communications manager for Montreal New Tech. Does anybody here know Elias?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Elias, right? So just by the way, we have a demo night tonight at Dawson College, if anyone wants to drop by. And I'm also responsible for communications for the Bill Marie Sud-Ouest Ile des Arts Riding Association, which happens to be this federal riding. And the Kennedy MP's office is actually just around the corner. So that's pretty much my CV. A couple of questions about you guys, just by raise of hands. Who's going to CES? Most people. Who's got a booth? About half. Anybody been there before? 2 people? 3? 4? Okay. Anybody been to other major trade shows? Okay, good number. So anybody whose first big show will be this year's CES coming up? Just a couple. Okay. Well, you guys rest up. Okay, so guys, also I want this to be interactive. So if you have questions as we go along, just shout out, put up your hand, or whatever. A few reasons why people go to trade shows. Obviously, they want new customers. I was surprised when I was researching this that so many second place is to learn something about what they're doing, expand their professional knowledge. And we'll refer to that in the next slide as well. Networking, building relationships, obviously, is important as well. Brand recognition. A lot of people do number 5 here, seeing what other people are doing and how they can apply their ideas to their own brand. For how many people here is looking for investment the top reason why you're going? Okay, so what are these the reasons why you guys are going, or do you have other sort of goals? I'm not sure?
So, all of them.
All of them, okay. All right, so and by the way guys, my slides get more exciting. I just have a few of these text ones, so bear with me and we'll dive into this in a minute. So CES this year had attendance of 177,000 people. That's the entire population of Burlington, Ontario. 2.5 million square feet of exhibit space. That is 5 times the Olympic Stadium complex in East End. If anyone's been in there, I'm sure you'll agree it's pretty cavernous. Delegates from 3 out of every 4 countries in the world. This one is my favorite, probably because I used to be a journalist. 7,500 journalists. This summer, the Rio Olympic Games, the Summer Olympics, had 5,800 journalists. 30% more journalists will cover the Consumer Electronics Show than the Summer Olympics. Big, big deal, guys. 40,000 buyers on site. Just referring to the previous slide, if 2/3 of people are there to learn, that's 117,000 people that are going to be on site to learn. What are you going to tell them when they come by your booth, or when you're talking to them outside the presentation? How are you going to educate these people, hook them into your brand, and get them to know what you're about and be interested in you? There's 5 different ways, 5 different sort of forums where you can interact with people at a show like this. It's a huge show, lots of opportunity. On the show floor, so you're at a booth, people come by, you should have visuals, right? Visual aids explaining what your product is. Data visualization is your friend. We'll talk a bit more about that later, and how to visualize your message without necessarily using data. You want to talk to as many people as you can. You got to have an elevator pitch, right, guys? Who here knows what that is? Everyone, I guess? You guys have you been practicing that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get into the details of that later on as well. But you want to make sure that you basically are communicating with as many people as you can, as concisely as you can, right? Remember that when you're meeting people, you're not going to close a deal, you're not going to get an investment while you're standing in a booth. All you're going to get, best case scenario, is someone's interest. You can set up a meeting for later on in the week, or a call for when you get back here, but it's really about, on the floor, it's about that introduction and making a connection with someone. That's the advantage of having these face-to-face meetings, right? Email's great, phones are great, but it's different when you're shaking someone's hand, you're looking them straight in the eye. The conference program, this is, when you're going around attending lectures on different things, there are good opportunities here as well, right? Like if you guys are in wearables, like let's say I know you're in wearables. If there's a presentation, someone, let's say from Apple, is going to talk about the future of wearables, well, you know what? Probably the people you're looking for are going to be in that room. So make sure you get in there. Stand outside the door, hand out flyers about your company while people are going in if you have to. Talk to as many people in the room before as you can. Same thing for after. When it's time for questions, get up to the microphone. Say who you are, say what your company does, and everyone in the room will have at least heard that brand. But you got to make sure you're in the place where your key people are. Sorry, I'm not skipping my slides right. Impromptu connections is the third one. Frankly, I think CES is way too big for this. I mean, if you're standing in line waiting for a coffee, you have a good chat with someone while you're doing it, by all means, exchange cards, follow up with an email. But chances are you're not going to run into that person again while you're at CES. It's just too sprawling. There's too many different buildings, too many different rooms. Planned meetings. Now, this is your bread and butter here, guys. Planned meetings with a set agenda. Does anyone here have meetings scheduled for CES already? Some? Has anybody started reaching out and doesn't have a meeting scheduled? Anybody just have a list of people that they want to contact? You guys, basically, when we're done here, you should start doing that. It's going to be Christmas holidays before you know it. People are going to be hard to get a hold of, and then there's no time. CES, what is it, the 4th or the 5th it starts? Now's the time, mid-late November. Start reaching out, start making contact. Make sure you've got all the documentation that you need. I would have it all like on some sort of a tablet or laptop. These meetings, when they're scheduled, you should have a set agenda of what you're going to talk about. Are you going to talk about finances? Are you going to talk about how your space is going to grow? What your financial projections are? What your costs are going to be? Whatever that is, it'll be on your agenda when you set the meeting. So make sure you've got everything in a PowerPoint or something so that you're ready to go when you have these meetings. The 5th, they call it special events. These are parties, guys, right? So just remember, I know it's Vegas, temptation is all around you, but you got to kind of, be under control. If you really want to party, stay a couple of days longer. Party when the show's over, right? This is time for business. A lot of business is done at these parties. Those of you who have been to these kinds of events before will know that. When you're partying with people, it's because they generally like you. So there's a couple of advantages there. You can make a connection with those people. You can get genuine feedback, right? Genuine intelligence for people. What do they really think of their idea? They might tell you a different story after 4 drinks than after 0. Also, to find out what parties to go to, there's a Twitter handle, CES Party Guide, and there's also a website, CES Party List. There's nothing on them right now, but keep an eye on them as you approach the actual show, and they'll start to populate. However, there will be parties that are not on these lists. How do you find out about those ones? There are 40,000 buyers at these shows. The buyers are invited to everything. Make friends with buyers. Ask them where they're going that night, what parties they've heard of. They'll always say, oh, I don't know, there's 4 or 5. I'll probably only go to 1 or 2. Find out what the 4 or 5 are. What else? You can also make your own event. If it's your first time going, I wouldn't suggest it, but if you've been there before, maybe you can try to do something. There's a conference called Online News Association that I've been to a number of times. A guy I went to school with, Craig Silverman. who's a reasonably well-known reporter, used to do a meetup at this event, ONA, Canadians at ONA. And one year he had 40 people, and then he had 70, and then he had 100. Basically, everyone in media in Canada knows who Craig Silverman is. He's recently moved to Toronto. He's the head of BuzzFeed Canada now. So he's literally networked his way into this job. And good for him. But anyway, the parties are really, really a key. Just remember, take it easy, you're there for business. So just to wrap up the first section here, right? Try to focus on who you're talking to, what their needs are. So, if you've got your elevator pitch, maybe it's going to be different for someone who wants to license your IP than it would be for an angel or for a VC. Just kind of be able to tweak it a little bit as you move on. Tell them your value proposition, why you're special in the space, and make sure you get the contact info. Just make sure you don't want to be Dilbert. Supposed to be fun. All right, so 3 aspects of presenting yourself. You have your message, you have your visual aid, and you have the delivery. So here's a quick video on that.